Those people that they just naturally inspire you, right? Now I know I'm not around Bobby a whole lot, but every time I see him, that's the look he's got. It's a smile. It's always a smile, and it's that inner peace. Yeah, he's always encouraged me and inspired me, and we share a special experience together. He come up to see us one day, and me and you and your mom sit in my office, and we led her to Jesus. Yeah, that's one of my. I'll never forget that as long as I live, and she's in glory now. Yeah, praise the Lord. And it's just one of those, Pastor's been doing these memories that matter, and that's just one of those memories that I'll always have. And so I love you, bro. I tell you, I think the world of you. Hey, listen, he's going to encourage you tonight because God's brought him a long way and done a lot of great things in Bobby's life. So I'm honored to introduce my friend Bobby Gibson.
Thank you, man. I feel like a rock star. Never been on stage before. Now, I'm highly favored addict by God. He's brought me a long ways. If you're new in this deal, keep coming. At first, I was always a runner. A run from God. I knew He was chasing me. Had to get away though. I wasn't ready at the time. I had a lot of stuff to go through first, I'd like to say everything went the way I wanted it to, but it didn't. I started using at a very young age, and I'm a little nervous up here, but I'll be all right. I'll get started here. Yeah, you're right. I started using at a very young age. Back in the 70s, it was socially acceptable to drink, Everybody seemed to do it in our circle, So, but I took it to a whole new level. Things that other people probably don't do back in those times, and in 1987, I wound up my first drug charge, and wound up going to prison. I was 17 years old, and didn't know anything about that. I was always in youth homes and reform schools and things like that. Growing up, I guess you'd call me a little hellion or whatever, but that's what most people said, But, I guess it took all that for me to get where I'm at today, When I went to prison that first time, it seemed like I wasn't there very long. I got out, I started went back to the same people, doing the same things, and thinking it was going to be different, but it wasn't different. I just got another charge, and wound up in Cummins Prison at, 18 years old, I think it was. And as soon as I walked through the gate, I remember going through it, and I felt the presence of evil for the first time in my whole entire life. I've never felt nothing like it before, I said, oh, boy, what was that? I found out what that was, That was 90 days of pure hell for me, sitting in that prison. I've seen people get carried out on gurneys, things that I wished I'd never seen and things I wished I'd never heard, but fortunately enough, I didn't have to stay there very long. They shipped me somewhere else, and wound up having to stay like 8 years, building other prisons, because I learned how to lay block, right? Institutional need type of thing. But anyway, the last time I went to prison, I learned how to cook methamphetamine, right? Which was devil's playground, I guess you'd want to say. And I think I got busted like 3 times in a month for manufacturing, and they gave me 20 years in prison. And I thought, well, this ain't fun anymore, The fun's gone, They know how to hide you, right? And I wound up spending 11 years in prison, and for me, that was an eye-opener, what I do now, If I don't do something different, I'm going to grow old with these people down here, and every time I went back, there was people calling me by my first name. That lets me know that I've been here too long, because I got Gibson wrote on the side, not Bobby, right? So that was an eye-opener for me, But when I got out, see, I had to go through this TC program down there. It was therapeutic community. And I done been through like 16 treatment centers, right? And I kept thinking, well, I don't know why y'all keep sending me to these things, you know. Drugs is not the problem, that's my solution, right? That's what I always thought, you know. But really it became a problem, you know, and while I was using them anyway. All right, well, anyway, when I got out of there, that TC program, you know, I didn't even go see my parole officer that last time. I just went on a run. And I used for about 9 months, you know, and I knew I was probably going back to prison, but he gave me an opportunity to go to treatment. He said, do you want to do something different? Do you want to do something about your problem? Or I got a bed open for you in 10 days. You know, you can show up or I can send you back to prison, whichever one you want. And I said, well, I think I'll try this treatment thing. You know, so I gave it an opportunity, you know, and I wound up going to Kim Free afterwards, you know, which was, I spent 10 years in there with a very great guy named Jackie Mann. Some of you might know him. You know, he taught me how to pray. You know, me and him was in prison together once, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. You know, we wound up in Kim Free together, and I got to looking at him. I said, well, this guy looks familiar. You know, and I never knew that I was actually in prison with him until he mentioned him being the commissary man down there. I said, oh, yeah, you're Colonel Sanders. You're the one that was on pressed whites and pretty tennis shoes and everything while I was over here with these whole squad clothes on, you know that? He said, yeah, that was me. Yes. I said, oh, wow. Small world, isn't it? It really is. And God places people in your life, you know, and you never know who's going to be that golden gem for you. And Jackie Mann was that golden gem for me. Because every day we had a bathroom downstairs and one upstairs, right? Well, every morning I had to cross his legs because he'd be on his hands and knees praying to God every day. Well, I didn't have a God of my understanding. My God was the dope. You know, I never was raised in church or any of those things, you know, so that was an eye-opener for me, watching him do that every day. And I finally just sat him down and asked him one day, what does this do for you? I said, who are you praying to? You know, he said, well, every day I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what he feels like, you know, or any of these things, you know, but I do believe that if I do this on a daily basis, that I get to go through that day clean. And I said, so every day, you know, I just got to witnessing, you know, how he lived his life. You know, I watched him, you know, and for the longest time, you know, he got to stay clean. He walked that path with me, and we've been on this journey for the last 21 years, you know what I'm saying? Together, you know. You know, we've all made some mistakes along the way, but we're still here, you know, and, you know, I just went on I went 4 hours away here this weekend and spoke to a bunch of people in Narcotics Anonymous that I didn't know, you know, and you know, that's what God does. He uses me, you know, and I allow him to, you know. I want to carry a message. I want to carry a positive message, you know, honor my God, because he brought me out of the ashes of addiction and turned everything I ever did wrong into something positive, you know. And you know, I was always an introvert type person, you know. I couldn't get up there and talk when I first got here. There wasn't no way, man. I knew what everybody's shoes looked like, you know that? Because I was so full of shame and guilt, you know. I couldn't look you in the eye, you know. I didn't know what the truth was either. I couldn't tell you the truth, you know. I was a liar, I was a cheat, I was a thief, I was all those things, you know. You know, and that's all the things drug addiction brings you. You know, you can't be trusted as far as you could throw me, you know. But God turned all that around, you know, and I just had to walk through some things, you know. I had to get a sponsor and start working these steps, you know, that we had in this program that I go to called Narcotics Anonymous. And don't knock them until you tried them, because NA brought me to God, And I just had to nurture that relationship. And every morning I get on my knees and I pray to a God I can't see, touch, or feel, but I know he's there. And I know he's listening to me every day. And he's watching me, you know, and, you know, I try not to make no mistakes, but hey, we're human, right? We're going to run into some roadblocks somewhere down the line, and it's all about how we deal with it, you know. I know using is not the answer anymore. You know, it used to be my solution. It's not no more. And to me, it's all a God thing, you know. I know letting him use me the way he does. See, I worked at a treatment center for the last year and a half, and I don't work there now, but I did. And I worked with a lot of different guys, you know, different people, you know. Some of them really wasn't addicts, but, you know, all different personalities, you know, and it was good for me to experience that, you know. And I knew how to talk to those guys in there, you know. I knew how to talk to all of them in there, you know. And, you know, you never know what God's going to open the door for you, what door he's going to open for you, you know. When I came here, you know, to this church, you know, I really didn't. I remember telling the pastor this. You know, before this church was built, there was a trailer sitting out back. Yeah. See, that's Jackie Mann. This is the guy that I was at Kiln Free with for 10 years. So, yeah, we've been down a lot of similar roads together. It's my brother right there. You know. I want to share something about my mother there. What he witnessed a while ago, or what he shared about a while ago. My mom had cancer, right? And I was always on her about, you know, you go to church with me sometime, you know. Well, one day she called me up and she said, you still want to take me to that church? I just dropped everything. All I had on was a pair of blue jeans on there, or something, or shorts or something. I was out the door. I said, you hold that thought. I'll be right there. I had to drive all the way to Paragould to get her, you know, and I brought her back. I said, Brother Jeff, I'm on my way to see you. He said, bring her on. You know, and I'm going to tell you, that was the most spiritual moment I ever witnessed in my whole entire life, because I couldn't shut it off. I cried so much that day. I just couldn't shut it off. It was like a faucet, Niagara Falls, I'm telling you. And I'm one of those people that don't ever cry. But that day was awesome, you know. And that's something me and Jeff always have together there, you know. And another thing, this man put me to work when I got here. See, I've never been to a church where they actually, here, you want to do this? Do that. I said, you know who I am, right? I'm a criminal. You want me to handle your money? Sure. You sure about that? You know, and you know something? I appreciate that. You know, I've never been to a place where they actually trust you. They give you the benefit of the doubt, you know, and see, you see, the enemy talks to you. You know, he tries to get me to believe things that really ain't true, like, hey, you're not worthy to share, you know. I don't know why you're getting up here. Nobody's going to listen to you anyway. That's the type of things he tells me, but I do it anyway because I know it's all a lie, you know. You know, and you know, I was sitting in the meetings for many years, you know, holding back because I believed those lies. You know, and one day I just said, you know something, if I don't start sharing some of this stuff, I'm not going to make it long. You know, and Shelley knows. She was there with me for a long time. And my vocabulary wasn't very good at the beginning. You know, it took a while for me to, you know, I think I said one word. What was it? You know what I'm saying? About 50 times before I could get a sentence out. I knew that down pat. But, you know, it wasn't until I started working the steps and putting stuff on paper that I actually had something positive to share. You know, and that's what I call progress. You know, when God puts those certain people in your life, you know, I don't know, it seemed like service work was a big deal for me. You know, it got me out of self. I used to make coffee, right, at our meeting. But I liked doing that because I could hide back here in the shadows and not really participate, but be there in the meeting, right? Then one day, somebody said, "Well, who's your sponsor?" I said, "Well, I ain't got no sponsor." And they said, "Well, you know, this person actually called me something that I probably shouldn't say, but anyway, but she called me. She said, you got a dummy for a sponsor." And I got thinking about it. Well, I'll show you. I'll get me a sponsor. You know, because it went all over me that she called me out on my stuff, right? And I'm grateful for her because if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have never got a sponsor. You know, that's why I say God puts those people in your life, and they'll call you out on your stuff. And what I learned from that woman was, okay, once I did it, got that sponsor, he wanted me to take some action, right? He wants me to go get a step working guide and start working these steps, right? Well, I started working those steps, and sometimes it'd make me throw it across the room because it'd make me angry about what I saw. And what it was is, you know, my behaviors. You know, a lot of the things I did wasn't very godly. And it wasn't until I saw it all out on paper that it was the truth, you know. And I got to thinking, boy, I'm not a very nice guy. You know, there's a lot of things that I did that I'm not very proud of, you know. And you wouldn't know that now, but you know, I've done a lot of changing over the years. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, I used to have long hair. It's amazing, huh? I don't know what happened to that. You know, recovery changes things. You know, I was 31 when I got here, but I thought I was 29. I didn't even know how to count. You know, I was so burned up at the time. You know, and somebody said, "Well, you're not 29. You're 31. If you was born in 71, you're whatever." I said, "Okay, yeah, I get it." Well, anyway, so I was 31 when I got here, and I'm fixing to be 53. So, you know, and you never know if you're going to stay or not, right? You know, when I got out of treatment, you know, I didn't know if I was going to stay or not because I used to walk around the yard out there, and I was thinking, well, how long is it going to be before I have another needle in my arm? Because I was a needle junkie. And God took that obsession away from me. You know? You talking about powerful. That's powerful. You know, only He can take this from me. Only God can. You know, and He knew that if He didn't take it, I wasn't going to be here. And I'm so grateful that He did because, you know, I got a job when I first got here. I wasn't very employable. You know, it was a long time before I was actually trustworthy enough to work. But once I got a job, I owed like $55,000 in child support, right? Because I was in prison all those years. That stuff don't stop, you know. I thought, boy, I'll be old in a rocking chair time I pay this off, right? But I was wrong about that. It's paid off now, but you know, but I had to work a long time for that to happen, you know. But fortunately enough, you know, when I first got that first job, you know, my child support was $100 a week. My rent at the Kim Free House was $100 a week, and I only brought home $210 a week, right? I was thinking, wow, God ain't gonna give me no more than I could handle. Well, hey, at least I had a roof over my head, right? And I had $10 to spend, right? That all went to cigarettes because I smoked back then. And, you know, God's got jokes, you know. That's what I said, yeah. He's got a sense of humor, you know. And I thought, well, you know something, I probably don't need no more than that right now, you know. Because if I did, I'd probably somewhere the enemy would use it against me, you know. So I dealt with that until I started getting raises and things, and then 2008 happened. You know, the economy kind of, you know, construction business kind of went sour, and I decided I needed to get something inside. So I got me a job at a factory. And I've been there for the last 13 years. Okay. And what was fortunate, what was a blessing about all that was there were 17 people from our meeting that worked there at the time. I'm the only one left. It's amazing how that works, you know that? But I don't think I got much longer before I'm going to retire anyway, I think God's got something planned in store for me, in the future. I'm just going to walk through whatever He sends me. I'm just going to do it. Like tonight, I've never done this in front of a church setting, so I hope you get something out of it. I mean, my deal is just being obedient, learning how to be obedient, because I was such a not so obedient person all my life. I was just somebody that wasn't very trustworthy. I was just a runner, and I love what He's done for me in my life today. I can look at people in the eye and tell them the truth. And that lets me know that I don't have very many people that want to hang out with me, because they don't want to ask me too much, because I'll tell them the truth. And a lot of people don't like the truth, But I found that honesty is the most important thing for me today. Because if I'm not honest, I can't be none of these other things that God wants me to be. So it has to start there, and being obedience number 2. He wants me to be around people like you, and people like in recovery. I'm around a whole different bunch of personalities, and for me to be able to carry a message, I have to work the program just like they do, and continue to, because I want to be better. If I want to be better, I got to do better, and if I want to be able to carry a message like I want to, I'll have to continue, and I got a lot of love for every human being in this room, whether you think so or not. I might not know you, but I don't have to. God's gave me the ability to love a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. And I think that's a pretty powerful thing too, because for the longest time you would have never heard me say love another man. It just wasn't. My concept of that was totally opposite. But when I got saved, it changed everything. I didn't know He was going to open all the doors He's opened for me, but He has. And I love everyone in this room, and I just want to thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share. I just know it's going to keep getting better. And for all you girls in Anna's Wings, this is Anna's Wings, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I know you're Jennifer Talwar real well, but anyway, she's been around a long time, so she's good people, and I went out there whenever they opened up y'all's new place out there, and we circled the whole building and said a prayer. I'll never forget that, and it was awesome. Unity. That's what I call unity, and God works. He's working all over this town, and I just want to be a part of it, and I'm just grateful that He allows me to do things like this, because there was a time that I couldn't talk to you. We couldn't have no conversation like this. There wasn't nothing positive coming out. It took a lot of work on my part to do these things, and I don't know, there's a lot of great people along the way too, like Shelley, like Jack. The list goes on and on. There's a whole bunch of them, Brother Jeff. And actually, Gerald's brother, Jamie, he gave me my first job, actually. He didn't want to pay me, though, because he's afraid I'd go out and get high, which I understand. I wasn't very spiritual then, but it takes time, but he gave me my first opportunity, and I thank him for that. Jack, though, me and him will be brothers till the end. He don't know how much he's helped me along the way. I think he does now. But I don't know how much longer I got here, you know. So I'm just gonna let it go. I'll pass with that. Thank y'all.